everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to color together in Johanna Basford's Worlds of Wonder. I have not done much coloring at all in this book yet because I have just not had any extra time. So I pulled it out today and I wanted to color a little something in here, and I thought, why not bring out my camera and do another video where I just kind of discuss my thought process as I am choosing my colors and planning out exactly what I'm coloring. I have done another couple videos like this and they have been pretty popular. I'm going to go ahead and put all of those videos where I do the thought process of a colorist in a playlist, and I'm going to link that up in the upper right hand corner, and this one will be included. If you enjoy videos like this and you would like to see more, please do subscribe to my channel and also turn your bell notifications on so that you always get notified every time I post a new video. In the description box below, you will find links to everything that you see in my videos. And you will also find a link to my Facebook group if you would like to join us over there, as well as a link to my email list and my Patreon if you would like to support me there. Let's go ahead and get into this video. Today for this video, I have chosen this page in Worlds of Wonder. And the reason I chose this page is because we've got these smaller circles here, and it makes it easier to fit all in one video. I am looking at this bird up here, and I wanted to just be able to color a bird in today's video because with a bird we can bring lots of bright, vibrant, beautiful colors all together in one. And vibrant, bright, beautiful colors all coming together just make me happy. So that is what we are going to do today. We're going to get started coloring this bird, and usually when I am starting anything that I'm coloring, I like to use a color palette. If you have not already seen this on my channel, this is Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog. This is volume 2. There's volume 2, there's volume 1. You could purchase them as a bundle, and you could also get an add-on of her color companions, which is all of her color palettes matched up to the exact color in your colored pencil sets to each block on the color palette. So if you would like to see a video that explains this more in depth, I will link one in the upper right hand corner where I've done that. But for this video, I am just going to show you exactly how I decide what colors I want to use on my coloring page or on any object on my coloring page. I want to make a bright, colorful bird. So what I want to do when I'm using this wonderful tool is I want to go to search by keywords. And there is actually up here a keyword for bright. So I'm going to click on that, and it will take you right to the bright color palettes. And then you would just look through them and kind of decide what one main color you want in your bird, or maybe 2 or 3 main colors that you want in whatever object it is you're coloring. And I know that I want to use blue and possibly a little bit of teal. So when I'm looking through the different color palettes, there's a lot of bright color palettes. They go all the way down to here, and then we get into buildings. I'm expanding this just a bit so that I could get a closer look at some of these palettes. And this one here, number 258, is really standing out to me. I did not want to go there, so I'm just going to hit the little search button to go back and go back to bright, and it's going to take me right back where I was. Isn't that so convenient? I love this tool. It is wonderful. I see some blues in here, not necessarily teals. This one has a darker teal. It's really standing out to me, and I really want to be able to incorporate some yellow with my blues. This one has a really dark teal in it, so I might just go with that one. And those seem to be the colors of a bird as well. Now there is also a category for animals, and there is also color palettes in this color catalog for birds. Just because I'm coloring a bird doesn't necessarily mean that I need to use one of the color palettes with a bird. let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This one is really pretty and it's bright and vibrant, but has these pastel colors in here. But if I'm discussing my thoughts with you, the entire point of this video, right? When I look at this color palette, I'm seeing this very lavendery color here, as well as a very light pink. And those colors are very easy to brighten up. They're pastel, but once I add some other pinks and some other purples, it's really going to just bring them to life. And looking up here at all these colors mixed together, that just, I don't know, it's beautiful. So let's go ahead and start picking some pencils to match up to our color palette. With the color catalog, once you have chosen the color palette that you want to use, you can take a screenshot of it, which is what I'm going to do, or you can even print it out, and these little boxes down here, you can actually use those to match your pencils up and put your colors that you want to use for each box on the color palette down here in these boxes. So right now though, for me, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the screenshot because that's just easier for me right now. But let's go ahead and grab some colors. So here's my color palette, and I'm going to go over my thought process and what I do when I'm choosing colors. Here is my first color, or the first box on my color palette. And the one that matched up the best to that was my Deco Pink. Now, Deco Pink is a color that I usually use for highlights. So I wanted to match up another couple colors to go along with that. And I chose this blush pink, which is a really pretty color, and it adds a difference in the variance of the two tones between these two pinks, and they just come together really nicely. Now, I'm very familiar with my Prismacolors, so I generally know what colors are going to mix well and go together nicely because I've done a lot of that over years now. So the other color that I chose to go with them is this hot pink color, and when these colors come together, they just look really pretty. They're all bright, vibrant colors. This one is a little bit more muted, but it is still bright and vibrant, and that is my objective for this bird. So if we go to the next color, which is this shade of purple, I really only chose two purples. Now, when you're looking at a color palette, you can choose other colors if you want to choose other colors and bring them into that section. And I didn't really do this one exactly the way you've seen in my previous videos, because for this one I only chose two colors, and then I chose another highlight color that I'm going to kind of mix in with some of the other colors that I've chosen for the other boxes on the color palette. So the one that matched up really, really well was this lilac, and so I am going to use that one. And then I needed a color a little bit darker than the lilac, so I chose Parma Violet. And I want to really brighten it up, so I decided to use my Sky Blue Light when I put these two colors together. Now I'm also using this Sky Blue Light for my selections of blues, because that blue color is so light and pastel-y that it is a great burnishing color. It's also a great color to be able to bring other colors together. So here, many of you probably recognize this and know exactly what color this is in the Prismacolor set if you're familiar with your Prismacolors. But that is definitely the yellow chartreuse. And so that is the one that I chose. It matches up the absolute closest. It's so bright, so vibrant, so beautiful. And this is going to mix very well with greens. So what I did for this one is I chose a few different greens here. And I don't just have one, I have a few different ones, because I'm really not sure where I want to go with this yet. Of course, we will discuss my thoughts along the way and see exactly where we end up going with it. And that's really kind of the whole point of this video. So I also got the chartreuse because we all know that chartreuse has more green in it. The yellow chartreuse has more yellow in it. Of course, that's why it's called yellow chartreuse. And the two of these mix together beautifully. They're so bright, they're so vibrant, and they look fabulous together. And then spring green is another color that I love to use as a mid-tone because it is still bright and vibrant, but it is still a mid-tone. And then I didn't want to go too dark with my greens, so I chose grass green to go along with these colors for this section of the color palette. Now we have this beautiful blue color here. And the color that matched up closely to this one was the non-photo blue. We also have this darker blue here, and I don't know, I kind of just took these two blues and I just picked a selection of blues that I thought would look good together. Of course, this sky blue light, I'm going to use it in other areas. And then I have a true blue, my cobalt blue hue, and then non-photo blue, which is the one that matched up here. Now this cobalt blue hue is the one that matches up over here. I may pull in some other blues, I may not, I don't know. We're gonna see where we end up going with it. So those are my selections for that box. Then I have this very dark teal type color over here, and the color that matched up really, really well to that was this cobalt turquoise. And then I grabbed my aquamarine because I really want some beautiful, vibrant turquoise colors or turquoise type colors in my bird. And I also have the light aqua. Now again, with these colors, this sky blue light also mixes very well with all of these. So I'm going to be using the sky blue light, I think, quite a lot. So now we're going to go ahead and get started with the bird, and I'm just going to discuss my thought process throughout the whole entire thing. Now, if I look at this circle with the bird in the center, I see also that we've got some leaves and we've got some strawberries. So I want to make sure that the colors that I use in the bird are also going to be able to be brought from here out to here. Now the color palette that we used has a lot of pinks in it. That makes it very, very easy to bring the pink outward into the strawberries and possibly also add some red later on. I think in this video I'm only going to have time to color the bird. I may come back and color the rest of it in another video. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if you want me to continue this and do another video where I just discuss my thought process as I continue to color the rest of this in. Now we've also got the leaves, and that is going to work out perfectly because I purposely chose a color palette that had green in it because I knew that I was going to have to come outward with my colors, and I want to be able to add some green to my leaves, and that just creates balance across my whole entire page. The first thing that I want to do is I want to bring in the color that I'm using for my highlight, and I'm trying to figure out what color I want to frame the face or in and around the face of my bird and how I want these colors to come down. So we've got teals and blues, which go very well together. You could even mix them together and they are gorgeous. I've got this sky blue light, which mixes well with all of those colors. And then I have the green with the chartreuse and the yellow. And I also have some purples, and purples blend very well and very nicely as well with blues. Now the green will blend well with the teals and such, but we're going to have to try to fit in some of those greens and some of those pinks. Maybe we could blend the pinks into the purples. We've got a lot of colors here. Let's see if we end up even using them all. So I think maybe around the face, we should add blues. So let's go ahead and get started in here. And I am going to lay this sky blue light right up in and around here. Now I'm thinking I want these up here blue, but I may want to do another color down in here just to kind of give the bird like a masked type look like you see on a lot of birds. So let's go ahead and just start in this area, and I'm just going to preserve my highlighted area with that color. I am going to now come back with my non-photo blue, and I am going to add in some of this color just sort of on the edges. And I don't want to add the color on this edge over here just because that will take away from the depth or dimension that I'm trying to create. I want it on opposite sides. So I think I have enough of that color laid down, and I'm going slow because I'm just trying to test out what my colors are going to look like. Now I have the cobalt blue hue, and I am going to just very lightly come and blend some of this in. What a gorgeous color. Let me go ahead and come back with my mid-tone, and I'm going to pull some of those colors out. Now I'm thinking maybe I should add a little bit of my teal shades in there. That would be so pretty. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of the light aqua. Oh yes. See, and this is exactly what I mean by just going over my thoughts that come into my head as I am deciding where I want to lay the colors. And I think these videos are really helpful because, I don't know, I like to think a lot of us tend to think the same way when we're coloring or deciding where to lay our colors. And if you don't, then this is a really great video to learn from, because you could see how another colorist thinks and why they do the things that they do. Let me add a little bit more of brightness in here with my cobalt blue hue. And this is going to not just brighten it up, but it's going to make it a little bit darker, creating quite a bit more shadow in these areas. And I'm going to do the same thing over here and the same thing over here. Now I want to grab my sky blue light, and I told y'all that I was going to be using this with many different colors. You see how I added the light aqua in there? And now I'm just going to come in here and pull all of these colors together. And I am leaving a little bit of a highlighted area all in and around here. And if I wanted my highlighted area to be even more pronounced, when I'm coloring, I just sort of think, okay, well, if I wanted to really emphasize that highlighted area much, much more, then I would either come back and grab my darkest color, which in this case is my cobalt blue hue, and I would just add another layer. And you see how when I just kind of lay that in there, how it just really adds a lot more shadow. And if I wanted to even come back with a darker color because I thought that that wasn't enough, then I would do that as well. And I would just keep going over it and laying layers as I want them and where I want them. And if I wanted a little bit more of this light aqua just to brighten it up, I can come in here and I can do that as well. Do you see how it just made the highlighted area a bit more pronounced? And another thing that I would do is I would just come back with my white Prismacolor, make sure I have a very sharp lead, and I would just get in that area right in there and brighten it up. And so now I have all of my tones that I need down on the paper, and I think they look good. But we're gonna have to bring that blue a little bit outside the lines. I really need to get a brush to kind of brush that off my page. So we need to bring that blue now down I don't know, further into the bird somewhere else, but we kind of have to have a plan for our colors that are in our color palette. I think with my pinks, I'm going to have to bring in another color. I don't know if I want to come back with my, oh my gosh. So maybe we could do blue around the eyes and skip this portion here and come down into the eyes and do blue again. Let me go ahead and do that. So that was my cobalt blue hue. This is my true blue. Did I have the true blue before? I don't think I used the true blue in the top area. Now I want quite a bit of a highlight here behind the eye of the bird. So I'm just going to go in a circular motion, and for now I'm just going to kind of pull these colors through. I almost think I want to grab an even darker blue. So y'all that have been following me for quite a while, you know that I am in love with indigo blue, and I use it very often for just shadows in areas where I want to create more shadows to create the three-dimensional look. So I'm just going to come over here with my indigo, and I'm going to darken up the areas where I think we need a bit more shadows. And that's going to include down here in this part of the bird's eye. So I've just added this indigo in all of the areas where I want there to be quite a bit more depth, creating a more three-dimensional look. So now we need to choose a color. I think I want to use the same color here as I do here in this section. And maybe we should go ahead and grab our pinks. But I'm thinking with our pinks that we might need to add maybe something of a magenta. Let me go ahead and take out the highlighted area. That was my deco pink, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was my deco pink. Now I have my blush pink, and I'm going to add a little bit of this just to sort of blend it in with this other color. Oh goodness, look, some of the blue is coming down from the other area into this area. But never fear, because anytime that happens, you just get out your eraser. Oh, it happened again. Is this paper in this book different than her other books? Okay, so now I have hot pink. If you feel like the paper is a bit different in this book than her other books, let me know in the comments below. I need to grab something of a, I don't know, something that's really going to brighten this up. And I think I'm going to use the Process Red. And right up in here, I just want to add a little bit. Oh yes, look at the difference. I'm just going to sort of blend some of this Process Red in here. I'm just kind of pulling some of these colors together. This is my hot pink. And I'm lifting up a little bit as I come down into that other area. Now, when you're using a color palette, don't always feel like you need to follow the color palette exactly. When I decided on my pinks that I was going to use, I didn't necessarily choose a color for my, or the box on my color palette that had pink. I didn't necessarily choose a color that would be a really great shadowing or shading color to be able to create all the extra depth and dimension. I kind of waited until I had some of the colors laid down on the paper so that I could see what they look like, and then just come back later and decide on what I was going to do. Now, this is my Deco Pink, and I'm just using this one to kind of bring all these colors together. I do need to add a little bit more of this magenta. And see, now that I'm looking at this, I'm even thinking maybe I want to grab something even a little bit darker, because I want to make sure that I have enough shadows. Now I have my blush pink, and I'm just going to come in here and pull some of these colors together. And now I'm going to use my highlight color, and I am going to add that right here where I want a bit of a highlight in the center. I went and grabbed violet, and this is going to go really nicely with the purples that I already chose. And I believe it's going to work for exactly what I want to do here. Oh, yes. Look at that. And see, that's why videos like this are so great, because I don't know, I feel like everybody can learn from videos like this. I'm blending in purples with my pinks instead of just leaving it all pink. And it's just creating more of the shadow that I want. I'm going to do the same thing up in here. Maybe I'll bring it down just a little bit. Sometimes you just need to talk out loud. And if you're coloring and you just talk out loud, it will really help you to really think about what you're doing as you choose your colors and decide whatever it is, or decide on whatever it is you want to lay down onto your coloring page. And I'm just coming back and adding even more shadows, because y'all know, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I love to make sure that I have plenty of depth, plenty of dimension, and I like to do that on no matter what it is I'm coloring. And it's really looking so different now. Do you see what you can do when you start just blending some of your colors together? And if you're unsure about what's going to happen once you lay them onto the paper, always keep a swatch sheet off to the side so that you can work on blending some of your colors together. But I think I like it. Of course, I'll come back later and I'll do something else with it, because that's just what I do. Now I'm thinking I want to start coming down into these areas here and start kind of mixing my teals with my blues and start to bring some of the colors up here down into this part of the bird. I'm not even sure that I'm going to use a lot of the greens in this bird. I don't know. The pink, I don't know, y'all. The pink just kind of changed my whole vibe about this. I mean, it looks good, but the pink looks really pretty with the blue. And I don't know how the green is going to look. Maybe we'll do green up in this area here. So I grabbed my true blue. And I don't know, I think I want to do greens in this area right up against the... Oh my gosh, see y'all, I'm stuck. I get stuck too. Let's go ahead and start here. And I'm just going to start adding in some of this true blue. Let me go ahead and get my cobalt blue hue. And let me darken some of these areas up just a bit. This is just, again, creating that three-dimensional look where I want it. I don't know, I kind of think I want this to be just a little bit different, but I don't know what I want to do. Let me grab my light aqua again, and we're going to go ahead and make this look similar to the top portion up here, but I think that I'm going to add more of this color in this area. And then on this wing over here, okay, I think I have an idea. Let me grab a much darker, this is my cobalt turquoise. And I am really going to change the look of this last wing, or feather, I should say. Oh, I think I love this. See, now I'm bringing it over here as well because it just looked really, really good. And see, I wasn't planning on doing that originally. And all of these colors together are going to change, totally change the way that it looks. Now I'm going to darken this up with my true blue just by adding another layer, because I do want to keep that blue in there because I want to make sure I have enough of it to match up to the top part of the bird's head. And now I am going to grab my light aqua again and add more of that. I want to make sure that those lines are kind of spread out, and I'm just doing this just to add, again, more depth to each one of the feathers. You see how when I just go over that line just like that, it just really makes it look so much more three-dimensional? And the more layers that you add, it just continues to give it even more dimension. I grabbed my indigo, and I am really going to just use a bit of harder pressure and go over all the areas once again where I want it to really look like it's got more dimension. Now I am starting to really get some ideas for this bird, and it's just kind of starting to really come together for me. After I get some of the colors down on the paper, it all of a sudden just kind of becomes easier in a way. And I'm looking at this now, and I'm looking at this section here, and I'm thinking that I might want to make this section here green. I want to go ahead and add my greens all in this area because I think it's just really going to pop. And then possibly take the greens and maybe pull them down here into the tail end of the bird. Let's see where we get with this. And I don't know, maybe I should start with the tail end of the bird. No, let's go ahead and start up here. So I've got the colors that I showed you in the beginning, my spring green, yellow chartreuse, my chartreuse, and then my grass green. And of course, I might go grab another green. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna start. My idea for this is I want to start with my darkest colors at the top of each one of these feathers, and then I want it really to lighten up as I come down towards the bottom. So let me go ahead and just start here, and I'll show you exactly what my idea is. And I'm already looking at this thinking that I'm going to have to grab another color. And I'm just going to add this green. In all of these areas in between. And see, before I wasn't sure if I was even going to use green, but now that I look at this, I think that it's going to really look good. So this is, wait, what do I want to use next? That's not the color that I wanted. I want to go ahead and use my spring green, and I just want to blend a little bit of this bright color into the grass green. Do you see how we're already making it just kind of pop? Y'all know that I love to do that. I like when my colors just kind of pop off the page and they're bright and vibrant and beautiful. And this spring green color is just the color to do that. And then once we mix it with the other colors, it is really going to make this section of the bird stand out. I think I'm going to go ahead and use my yellow chartreuse now. And I am just going to make this bright and vibrant and beautiful. Look at that. I love this color. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look how pretty. Okay, so we have all of the colors laid exactly where we want them. And so now we need to come back with a second layer. And so I am just going to do just that as I add more of this grass green, and I'm just kind of blending it in and around into each one of these feathers. This is going to be a very interesting colored bird, but I think it's going to be pretty when we're done. Y'all are going to see how all these colors come together in the end, and I think it will show you not to be afraid to sort of just experiment. And under most general rules, if you're using a color palette, those color palettes come from actual photos. They're not just, you know, thought up out of nowhere. And all of the colors you see in the color palette are actually pulled from the photos. So they are most likely naturally going to go together. The thing, y'all, I went and grabbed my dark green. I told you that I wanted a little bit more depth. And I think that this color is going to do it for me. And it is already. See that? And I'm just going to add this color all in the tops. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to come down here in this area of the bird, and I'm going to do the same thing. And then you just need to keep coming back with your layers and pulling the colors down even more. And I'm hoping that this video is helpful and that y'all could kind of see what my thought process is, even if I am using a color palette. I'm using my spring green, and I'm just going to blend all of these colors together just a little bit more. You see how it's just kind of pulling all the colors together? And see, at first I was really unsure about this bird, and I didn't know how this was going to look with the colors that I chose. But now that I've got some colors laid down on the paper, it looks like it might actually just work. And look how pretty that green just blended in with all of the other colors. So pretty. And I'm just going over one final time with my yellow chartreuse and pulling all those colors together and brightening up the darker colors as well. Look at that, just with one more layer. I don't know if you could see that on camera, but it just kind of went pop. Look how pretty. Oh my gosh, I love it so far. I don't know if I'm gonna have to break this bird up into 2 videos, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and do one more section, and maybe I will do the rest at a speed coloring now that y'all could kind of see how I choose colors, how I put them together, and kind of the thoughts that go through my head as I am coloring or planning out my coloring page. So we've got some blue, we've got some pink, we've got the green. The only color from our color palette we've not used yet are the purples. We did use a little bit of purple up here in this area, but I'm wondering if I want to continue to blend my purples that I chose in with my pinks. Or maybe we could do purple here. I don't know that that would really stand out well enough. I think I want to start moving the greens that I use down here into the tail end of the bird and see what that looks like. And I'm going to use the same technique as I used in these feathers up here. So I'm going to speed this process up as I do it. Look how beautiful that came together. I love it. So let's go ahead and just color in this small area here. Looks like a little bit of the blue came out of the line, or the green, but we're going to cover that and use some pinks because I'm trying to create balance on my page, and I want to be able to bring the colors up here in the face of the bird down into these 2 sections so that it kind of comes like this. And I think that is going to make it all come together very nicely. I'm wondering if over here I'm going to be using purple, or I don't know, maybe I should use purple here. I don't know yet. We'll see. I may not even use the purple. Don't ever think that you need to use every single color that you've picked to match up to your color palette. Don't ever think that you need to use every single color. I'm going to go ahead and start with my violet, and I'm going to start at the top adding my darkest color here. And I just went to purple. Did you all see that? Because I had it in with my pinks. And I just said I wasn't going to use purple. But I like the way that looks. And I'm going to blend that in with the processed red. And that is going to change my color. Just like, oh, look how pretty. I love it. So just like I tell y'all all the time, don't ever be afraid to blend your colors together. And this is my Deco Pink. And I just added purple when I thought that I wasn't going to use the purple, but that looks really pretty. I'm going to darken it up, I think. And I'm going to add a little bit of dimension in here. Now I'm starting to love this bird. Do you guys do that too as you start to lay your colors down? And it starts to come together. This is my hot pink, and I just want to brighten this up a little bit. But as your colors start to come together a little bit, I don't know, does it kind of just give you a little bit more confidence in your coloring page or what it is you're trying to create? I think that looks really pretty. And see, now I can do the same thing over here and bring it over, and I still used the colors up here and I'm bringing them down both directions. I'm going to grab another purple. So I have my Parma Violet too. And I think I'm just going to experiment a little bit. And y'all, if I don't like it, I'll just come back with my mono eraser and I will erase it. Now, when you're laying down your colors, you want to make sure that you lay your darkest color next or up against the lightest color. So I'm going to use my violet and I'm going to lay that color all in these areas that is closer to the other color where it's been laid down lighter. So in this instance, it's going to be with my darker color closer to where that yellow chartreuse is. And I don't even know what color I probably should have colored this area first. I don't know. What am I going to color that area? I really need to know because I need to be able to know where to lay this purple. Or we can just, yeah, we'll just come back and do that later. And I think I'll bring a highlight color right down into here, into the bottom. Maybe we should do that with the green too. Do you all see though how I just kind of talk everything out as I'm doing it? Now in this area, I am laying a lot more purple down than I did previously. Now I have my Parma Violet, and I'm going to pull that down just a little bit. I think the purple looks pretty, but I think it needs some pink. Let me see what happens when I lay down my blush pink. Oh, that's pretty. So we use the blush pink instead of the Deco Pink. And this will just be more of my highlight color. And I want to lay down enough of it so that I can make sure that the colors are movable, because this paper, I don't know, maybe it's just that I've not colored on this paper in so long. See, now I'm getting kind of daring and wondering if I want to add a really dark blue up here. I'm going to grab my indigo. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I have my indigo blue, Oh, wow. Okay, now it's all coming together. Look how cool. So over here in this area, we just used all of the colors except the green. And it's adding dimension and balance and just bringing all of these colors together. Oh, look at the indigo mixed with those other purple colors. That's beautiful. See, now I want to go back in here and I want to add some indigo. Oh, how pretty. Look how it just brightened up those purples. Oh my goodness. You know what I know, y'all? I know this is going to be a very long video. But I have a new camera and it can handle my long videos. I am just coming back with my violet. And making sure that I blend those two colors together nicely. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so pretty. So I have a plan for right here around the beak, and I am going to stick with greens all in this area. And so I'm just going to color this part in really quick. And then I'm just going to come back and add my dimension in the areas where I want it. And it's looking like these colors are being pulled into the wrong area again. You guys know how much I love this mono eraser, but it just takes up the color so nicely. Let me go ahead and, yeah, it seems to be happening a lot to me today in this book, and that's why I'm wondering if the paper may be a little bit different, because I don't remember ever having that issue with Johanna Basford's books. They're always my favorite books, and I had not yet colored in this one. So I've colored that area and I think it looks really good. To continue bringing balance to this page so that it could all come together, I think that we need to color this area right here in with blue. And then of course these all down here will be blue, but I'm going to color them a little bit differently than I did over here, I think. I'll have to see once it starts to come together. I even think it would look pretty if it was green. I'm loving the green, but I think I'm going to do blue because it will make the blue just kind of be all the way around the bird, and I think it will just bring everything together very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and color in both of these areas. This one is going to be blue, and this area down here is going to be blue, and I am going to speed it up to music so y'all could just kind of see everything come together. Our bird is done. I absolutely love the way that it turned out. I hope that y'all enjoyed kind of just listening to my thought process throughout the entire coloring of the bird as I planned out what I was going to do, chose a color palette, and just did it in actual steps. And if you notice, I kind of moved around the bird as I tried to figure out where I wanted to create my balance and how I was going to do that, where I was going to lay the colors and when they would get laid down. It is an entire process. And if you just kind of talk to yourself and talk yourself through it and have a plan for whatever it is you're coloring, it will end up looking absolutely beautiful. So if you're interested in the color catalogs by Sarah Renee Clark, I will have that linked in the description box below, as well as everything else that I have used in this video. If you are not already subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel. There is lots more content to come. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.